GoHighLevel workflow automations are one of the most powerful tools that you have as an agency owner. But, as a wise man once said,
remember, with great power comes great responsibility.
yes, that's right, my friends. If you are going to embark on the automations journey, you better know what you're doing. Fortunately for you, I've broken it down step by step in 3 levels, and we're going to walk through that today. So to begin, should you use automations? Well, let's go through some pros and cons. Here are the pros of automations. Number 1, automations can streamline your processes and improve your efficiency. That's great. Number 2, they take care of repetitive tasks, allowing you to focus on growing your agency. Number 3, they help ensure consistency in the way that you're following up with leads. And number 4, no leads are going to fall through the cracks. So that's a pretty strong list, but there are some cons. The first con being that automations can quickly become really complex and confusing. Number 2, it takes time to set them up correctly and test them up front. Number 3, if designed poorly, it might actually hurt your lead conversion rather than helping you. And number 4, if you become overly reliant on automations, you can become out of touch with your clients. So all of that said, are automations worth it? Yes, they are. But you have to start small. These automations are super powerful and can really do a lot for your business, but you do have to start small. All right, so let's get into level 1. You can see I'm over here in my sub account and we're in the automations tab. And over here, I've created these level 1, 2, and 3 workflows to show you examples of how you can make a beginner, intermediate, and advanced level workflows. And let's get into it here with level 1, beginner. So one of the key things to know with workflow automations in general is that they involve setting up a series of automated actions that are triggered based on specific conditions up here. The actions that you can do with workflows can include things like sending a text right here, notifications, updating opportunities, also not listed here, sending emails, or even creating tasks for your team. You can see if I come over here, there's all these actions that we have, and I'm not gonna go through all of them today, but there's a whole lot of things you can do in workflows, okay? But this is just level 1, beginner. And the essentials of a workflow automation when you're just getting started with GoHighLevel are the following. Number 1, a trigger. You can see I've listed 3 different types of triggers. The first one would be a Facebook lead form is submitted. Make sure you come in and add the filter for the correct form. I've added the right form here. You could also have a trigger for someone who calls in. Make sure to add that filter of the call direction being incoming, okay? You can also add a trigger for a website form that was filled out on a landing page. And I've added in this form here, just make sure that that's the correct form that is on the landing page that people are going to. So as you can see, there's a whole lot of triggers, but these are probably some of the few most common. So that's the first part of level 1, okay? The next essential element here is going to be sending the leads to the pipeline. You must do this if you're going to accurately track and manage your leads. So the very first action you do should be this create or update opportunity. And what I've done here is named the opportunity the contact's name. I've chosen the stage. This will show up depending on what pipeline you've got. I've got all these different stages, but I'm going to send them just into the very first stage, which is opt-in. The opportunity source, I've added a custom field here for the campaign name that it came from, but you could also just add in simple text and say they came from Facebook or whatever it was that the trigger was based on. And then you can add in the lead value. So what is the value of the service that you're potentially going to add to them? And then status, open, won, lost, or abandoned. For incoming leads, you're going to want to leave that on open. The next essential is the initial SMS to your lead. And that's just going to be right here. You can see this is nothing too crazy. You can say something like, hi, contact first name. And just a tip, if you want to add this little custom field, or the custom value, you just come up here, click custom values. Contact is the lead, okay? So anything in here is coming from the lead, and you just add that, and it's going to populate right there. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, name, so I could say Connor here from, and then this is the business name. Thanks for downloading our free guide on ketamine therapy. I'm looking forward to connecting with you, smiley face. Literally, that's all you need. Something initial just to break the ice, to show them that you have reached out to them, that you got their information, can make a big difference on their conversion. Finally, the last essential element is an internal notification. You can use email notification or SMS. Email is usually the easiest way to get it directly to your appointment setter or just to yourself. If you're managing the leads yourself and this is maybe your first client, you can just send an email to yourself. That works great. You can choose the from name. That can just be you. It can be the name of your agency, and you can choose the email. So I've chosen an email from my agency, but you could also do a custom email here. And then I'm gonna choose to either send that to all users, assigned user, particular user, or custom emails. I'm just choosing custom email to make sure I know where it's going to. Sometimes with the users thing, that adds a little complexity. And again, we're just on level 1 beginner, so custom email. And I'm adding just the email that comes from the sub account, this location email. To get that custom value, you're gonna come over here to the tag. This was a little tricky for me because I didn't know how to find it at first, but you wanna come over here to account. That's basically the sub account is what that means. Any information here is coming from the sub account level. So the sub account email, you just click that here and it's gonna be location email, okay? So that's a good one to use. If you wanna send it to yourself, you might literally just type in your own email, something like that, okay? You could type that in and it would send. You just wanna separate these with a comma and you're good. As far as what you should have in that email notification, again, keep it really simple. Just say, you have a new patient opportunity, congratulations. Please call them right away to help them get scheduled for an appointment. And you're gonna add a name, phone, email, whatever else was on the form, and you're just gonna populate that with those custom values again. It's pretty simple. And maybe on the subject line, just put new patient opportunity. You could throw in a custom value on the subject line for the contact's name. That's something that's helpful too. And that is literally it. So as you can see, that probably would take you 5 minutes to set up that automation because it's pretty simple, but that's gonna do a lot for you because now you're going to make sure that nobody is going to fill out a lead form without you getting notified immediately. And so even if you're doing all of the follow-up manually, at least you don't have to check on Facebook and all these different sources. You're just gonna get an automatic email whenever they come in and you just reach right out to them. All right, so now we're gonna go on to level 2 workflows, intermediate level. We're getting a little more advanced here. And I've kept all these triggers the same here, and I'm gonna show you how this is different in just a second. So our main goal with level 2 here is to humanize this automation as much as possible. What I mean by that is we're going to try and make it sound like it's actually a human who's sending these texts, which really helps with engagement. So we're gonna leave this opportunity the same here, that's still the same. But the first thing we're trying differently here is sending a voicemail. This is something that not a lot of beginners know about, but you can actually add in an action to push a pre-recorded voicemail file to the contact, which is awesome. And so you can see what I've got here. I'm gonna play this for you. I don't know if you can hear this. Hey, this is Connor from Ketamine Patients. I just saw that you downloaded our free ketamine guide and wanted to reach out and see if I could help with anything. You can either call or text me at this number. Yeah, looking forward to connecting with you. Bye. So as you can see, that was like a short 15-second voicemail. I recorded that on my phone, uploaded it to GoHighLevel, super easy. And that is a really good human touch. I mean, people hear that, they hear the voicemail and they're like, oh wow, this person called me, like this is amazing. And that can really help out. So that's gonna be the first thing. You're gonna add in a wait step of 1 minute before sending an SMS so that it doesn't seem like it's an automatic bot thing. And now we're gonna do something very similar to what we did before, but just say, hey contact, it's Connor from the business. Just left you a voicemail. I'd love to connect and answer any follow-up questions you have. Would you prefer a phone call or text? Either way works for me. So this is a really good initial question just to get some engagement and make sure that they're actually getting this text. This can be a helpful way to just know if they're even there. And then just like before, we're gonna keep that notification the same. And here's where we're gonna start getting a little more complex. We're gonna add this wait step for 24 hours. We're waiting for a contact reply, but we've also timed it out for 24 hours. So it's gonna basically give them a 24-hour window to reply. Then we're gonna add this if-else branch. And this is where workflows get powerful, but also more complex. And our two branches are, did the customer reply or did they not reply? To set up those branches, you just come into here, you choose one of the branch names. I just typed in replied here. And the condition that I added was, I don't want two of them, but the condition I added was contact replied. Basically, let me come back here so I can show you. Select, and you're gonna do contact reply. See how you've got all these different filters here? The first one we wanna do is contact reply, contact replied, and then true, okay? So then the other none branch, which you can't get rid of, that's just if nothing happened, if they did not reply. I'm gonna just name that did not reply, cool. So then if they did reply, that's great. That means they're engaging with us and I wanna notify my team or myself immediately that this is somebody who I would like to call maybe a hot lead, or maybe even at this point it's more of a warm lead, you could change that. But I wanna let myself know that they replied to this SMS. So I'm gonna put that in the subject. I'm gonna throw in a message about that they replied to our automated SMS. you should engage with them immediately, either call or SMS based on what they said. Okay, so that's just a really good immediate reminder for whoever's in charge of these leads to get on it and make sure that you reach out to them, right? If the lead did not reply, then we're gonna send this text here. And again, this is 1 day later, we've waited 1 day. We're gonna send them another text and say, hey again, I've been looking over our schedule for the week and just wanted to follow up here. Are you interested in coming in for an appointment with one of our specialists? And you can see that this is pretty simple too, but it's just a good way to catch somebody, maybe if they were busy at the time, or maybe they just forgot to reply. Usually that first few days are really critical to getting somebody on the schedule. And so adding an automatic step to send them a message 1 day later is great. That's what makes this level 2. It's a little bit more involved and hopefully a little bit better at catching those leads. Now we're on to the good stuff. Level 3, it's gonna get advanced. Okay, so for this one, I'm actually gonna show you a few different workflows to showcase the different parts that make an advanced automation setup. If I come into this first one, level 3 advanced, you can see we've got the same workflow we were just talking about. The main difference here is that I've actually added a tag right at the beginning, and this is to improve our ability to track. And this is a pretty simple step right here, just adding a tag, but that's something that will really help you track where your leads are coming from down the road and what workflows to send them to later. So if I had a trigger for a Facebook form, I'd want to add a tag Facebook. But in reality, this workflow has multiple triggers. You see, I've got like a form, I've got a call, I've got a Facebook form. So I don't think I'd actually add just this tag. In reality, you usually want to line up just one trigger with one tag so you are more specific and you know where things are coming from. And then the principle with level 3 advanced is that we're basically just adding more if-else conditions to our workflows. So you can see we've got this first branch that I talked about earlier, but now we've got a second branch down here, and even that isn't that many. Normally, you could continue this for a long time, but this is just to give you an idea that the advanced level is just adding more branches to our workflow to account for more possibilities, more situations. And along with that, we're doing more SMS follow-up. So you see we've got this second branch of did not reply, and it's got another text. So we could continue that on and on for multiple days, weeks, or months, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. But that is another principle of advanced workflows, is having more branches and more messages. And one other key thing is to have automatic updates to your pipeline. So I want to zoom in over here. So auto pipeline updates are helpful because then you don't have to manually drag leads across the pipeline, and this just really creates a more seamless process. So what you can do is if the contact replied, that means that they are a little bit higher intent, and we want to move them out of just the basic stage of our pipeline. And that's actually a show of interest. So we want to move that over to hot lead. Again, I think you could maybe add another stage and say like, oh, this is a warm lead or something, but you get the idea. You can update that opportunity right here. And when it says in pipeline stage, that's going to move them to that stage, okay? And so what we want to do over here on the did not reply side is if we send that follow-up text again, say, hey, I'm looking over the schedule, we're going to add in another wait period. And what we want to do here is something kind of cool. We can do a wait time delay for 12 hours, and then we're going to do advanced window, and we want to resume on an exact time frame at a different time that the lead actually was sending it. And this is a pro tip because sometimes people are available at weird hours. So instead of just texting them 9 to 5, maybe we resume this one at like 7 p.m. So maybe we say, oops, I want to keep that on. Maybe we scroll down here and we actually scroll all the way down to like 7 p.m. And then now it's going to resume at 7 p.m. So that's a really helpful way just to try out different things and try out different times. So I'm actually going to name that wait, then resume 7 p.m. just so I remember that. So now we've got that, and then we're going to have another if else. If they reply there, now we're going to send them over to this side. You can see that to the replied section here where it's going to change their pipeline status and send that internal email about them being a hot lead. If they didn't reply, we're just going to rinse and repeat, do that exact same process, send them another text that says, hey, we'd probably actually switch this up, say something a little bit different, but say like, hey, are you interested? Anything change, And we're just going to rinse and repeat that. You could do that for like 3 days and maybe up to a week. I probably wouldn't go longer than a week for the text, at least for this first strategy here. So one other thing I wanted to show you was over here, if I come into another workflow, this is the power of an advanced workflow where you can really create lots of branches and have a lot of follow-up. So you can see we've got a day 2, a day 3, day 4, day 5 text, a day 6 text, day 7, day 8, day 9, day 10. And then after 10 days, then we're going to wait a week and then we're going to wait another couple weeks, and we've got month 3, month 4. So as you can see, we're spacing it out, and honestly, I think very few people are going to engage with those later ones, so that's probably a little overkill, but you get the idea that this can be a really powerful way to follow up. And the other thing I wanted to make note of here is you can have a whole set of workflows that are just about stages and triggers for your pipeline. So for example, if I come over here to this pending treatment workflow, you can see that really the point of this is just to add this trigger for a link that's clicked. I'll get into that in another video, but basically you can create unique trigger links that will notify you when someone has done something very specific. I know that's a little vague, I'm sorry right now, I'll get into that later. Or you can add another trigger if someone manually changes this, and you can update the opportunity to send them to a new stage, remove tags, update their appointment status, and even remove from all workflows. So as you can tell, you can create really simple workflows like this just to make sure people are moving along the pipeline correctly. If you want some of these snapshots for yourself, you can sign up for GoHighLevel using my link below, and I will get you those snapshots so that you can get a head start to your workflow automations and help your clients get great results. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.